There is a video everywhere online of a cat and a dog living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, eating 3 feet apart every single day, and somehow still exploding into a fight the second one of them looks at the other wrong. Everyone laughs, calls it typical, blames some ancient rivalry between the species. That explanation is completely wrong, and once you see what's actually happening underneath that fight, you'll never watch your own pets the same way again. Stay until the end, because the real reason is stranger than you think. Cats and dogs are not natural enemies. There's no ancient grudge, no built-in hatred hardwired into either species. In the wild, they barely even cross paths. What actually causes almost every single fight between them isn't aggression at all. It's a translation problem. Two completely different body language systems running at the same time, with neither animal able to understand what the other one is actually saying. Here's where it gets interesting. A wagging tail in a dog usually means excitement, happiness, an invitation to play. That same wagging tail in a cat means the opposite: agitation, irritation, a warning that personal space is about to be crossed. So a dog sees a cat, wags its tail, bounds over expecting a fun greeting. The cat sees that tail and reads it as a threat building up before an attack. Neither animal did anything wrong. They were both just speaking fluent versions of two completely different languages that happen to mean opposite things. Eye contact works the same broken way. In dog language, a long, direct stare from an unfamiliar animal usually reads as a challenge, which is exactly why comfortable dogs tend to avoid holding eye contact too long with each other. Cats do the opposite. They stare to gather information, calmly assessing a room before deciding whether to relax or bolt. When a cat locks eyes with a dog for a few long seconds, the dog reads that as a direct challenge demanding a response. The cat has no idea it just triggered what looks like aggression, because in cat language, staring is simply how you read a situation. Then there's the approach itself, probably the single biggest source of conflict between the two. Dogs tend to move toward things head-on, fast, often straight into personal space without hesitation, completely normal among dogs that already trust each other. Cats are wired the opposite way. In the wild, fast, direct movement towards something small is exactly how predators behave. So a dog trotting straight at a cat, tail wagging, full of excitement, looks to that cat's nervous system like a predator closing in. The cat's brain doesn't have time to consider intent. It only registers threat, and you get exactly what you'd expect: hissing, swatting, arching, bolting. Territory plays a bigger role here than most people realize. Cats build their entire sense of safety around controlling small, predictable spaces: a favorite chair, a specific windowsill, one corner of a room that feels entirely theirs. Dogs guard resources too, but usually things like food, toys, or access to their humans, not physical space in that same intense way. So when a dog wanders into what a cat considers its territory, even completely innocently, the cat doesn't read that as harmless curiosity. It reads it as a direct violation, and that triggers instant defensive aggression. There's also a size imbalance running underneath almost every one of these fights that rarely gets mentioned. Cats are almost always smaller and more physically vulnerable than dogs, and cats know this instinctively. Because of that, cats tend to front-load their aggression, hissing and swatting immediately, because looking as threatening as possible right away is often a smaller animal's best chance of making something bigger back off before real contact happens. Dogs, especially large ones, don't need to escalate quickly the same way, because size alone gives them a natural confidence buffer. This creates a strange illusion where the cat looks like the aggressor, striking first, when really the cat is usually the one that feels most at risk, trying to end the interaction as fast as possible, using the only tools a smaller, faster animal actually has. Early experience might be the biggest predictor of all for whether a specific cat and dog will ever get along. Animals introduced to each other young, during the critical socialization windows of early kittenhood and puppyhood, almost never show this kind of fighting later in life. They absorb each other's language early, the same way a child raised bilingual grows up fluent in both without ever consciously translating. Most of the fighting we see between adult cats and dogs involves animals introduced later, well outside that window where cross-species language gets learned naturally. Personality matters too, and it has nothing to do with instinct. Some dogs carry a strong prey drive, an old hunting instinct triggered by small, fast, erratic movement, exactly what a startled cat does when it bolts. It's not hatred toward cats specifically. It's leftover wiring that reacts to anything small moving unpredictably. Meanwhile, some cats are naturally bold and unbothered, while others are high-strung and quick to perceive threat where a calmer cat wouldn't. Put a nervous cat with a high prey drive dog, and you get constant conflict. Put a confident cat with a calm, low drive dog, and you often get genuine peace, sometimes even real affection. And that's the part that tends to surprise people most. When cats and dogs do successfully learn each other's language, the resulting bond can look remarkably close, sometimes more physically affectionate than typical relationships within the same species. Curling up together, grooming each other, genuine comfort in each other's company. Once the miscommunication gets resolved, there's no biological reason left for them to be adversaries at all. So the next time you see a cat and dog hissing, barking, chasing each other through the living room, don't file it away as some ancient rivalry playing out in your home. What you're actually watching is two completely different species trying to have a conversation, using body language systems that evolved millions of years apart. Each one convinced the other just said something threatening, when most of the time, nobody said anything threatening at all. It's not hatred, it's a translation problem. And once you see that, every cat and dog fight you'll ever witness again is going to look a lot less like war, and a lot more like two creatures still working out what the other one actually meant.